We have a mirrored closet doors, sliding glass doors from the bedroom to the kitchen. And in the middle of the night, I'd hear him arguing with someone. I'm like, what is going on? And I would turn on the light, and he would be arguing with the guy in the mirror.
Wow.
He did not recognize that it was him in the mirror.
Wow.
And so he's like, what are you doing here? And he'd get angry.
Wow.
And that happened a lot. So I had to end up covering all our mirrors with sheets to stop him from doing that.
Just so it wouldn't escalate into more of a fight. Because if he thought that was an intruder.
Yep, he did.
Wow.
Dimensions of Dementia is an educational video series from the Alzheimer's Association Greater Cincinnati chapter. Join us each week for personal stories, engaging conversations, and educational content exploring issues such as caregiving, identifying warning signs, dealing with disease symptoms, and latest advances in diagnostics and treatments.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Dimensions of Dementia. My name is Dana Ritchie. I'm the program director for the Greater Cincinnati and Miami Valley chapters of the Alzheimer's Association.
And I'm Andrew Pitlick. I'm the walk director for the Cincinnati Tri-State Walk to End Alzheimer's.
And we're joined today by a guest. We have Miss Barb Williams with us here today. Barb, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. As Dana said, I'm Barb Williams, and I am a volunteer with the Alzheimer's Association. I'm a community educator, I'm a community resource, I'm a team leader for 2 Walk to End Alzheimer's teams. Sounds like I do more than you, but I don't.
Well, you do a lot.
We wouldn't be able to do what we do without you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in our episodes here, we've been talking a lot about the 10 warning signs that we've seen in our loved ones. You're very involved because your husband, Mark, had Alzheimer's. So before we get into signs and symptoms you saw in the beginning, Andrew's going to ground us all in those 10 warning signs for anybody who's not aware.
So the first one is memory loss that disrupts daily life. Number 2 is challenges in planning or solving problems. Number 3, difficulty completing familiar tasks. Number 4, confusion with time or place. Number 5, trouble understanding visual images or spatial relationships. Number 6 is having new problems with words and speaking or writing. Number 7 is misplacing things and then critically losing the ability to retrace your steps. Number 8 is decreased or poor judgment. Number 9, withdrawal from work or social activities. And number 10, changes in mood and personality.
So tell us a little bit about Mark and tell us some of the things that you noticed in him that had you concerned that something wasn't right.
Okay. The first thing I noticed, Mark was only 60, and I noticed some memory loss.
Okay.
I would send him to the grocery store to buy 2 items. He'd come back with 1, and it wasn't even what I asked for.
And that wasn't typical of him?
And that wasn't typical, but it wasn't, it doesn't sound that concerning, except that his family background was always in the back of my mind. His grandmother had Alzheimer's, his mom had Alzheimer's, his mom's sister had Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. So I started to think, could that be a sign?
Right.
And then he was a salesman all his life. He cared a lot about customer service. And then I got a call one day that he missed a meeting, which was totally not like him, and he wasn't returning phone calls. So then I did start to panic.
Yeah.
And I would check his emails and his voicemails, and I would remind him of things so that he could keep going.
Right.
But in the meantime, I started doing research.
Yeah.
And I found a test online, 28-question test for dementia. So I said, Mark, this looks like fun. Let's take this test together.
Yeah.
So we did. And the highest score, I believe, was 28. I got a 22, which didn't make me happy. I wanted to get a 28. But Mark got an 8, which really concerned me. Yeah. And the clock that you have to draw, which seems just so obvious and simple, he couldn't do it. He couldn't draw the clock with the hands.
Yeah.
So that's when I thought, I need to go check this out.
Yeah.
So made an appointment with a neurologist. He went through like a 2-hour test. Okay. And he came back with a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment, most probably Alzheimer's.
Okay.
But he asked if I wanted to get a spinal tap for Mark so that they could really confirm what it was.
Yeah.
And I said, well, would the treatment be any different? And they said no. So I said, I'm not going to put him through that then.
Yeah.
And we just started on the drugs to help control the symptoms and maybe slow down the process.
Yeah, because this was back before we had these FDA-approved treatments. And now, actually, you don't even have to go through the spinal tap. You can go through a blood test.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot to go through that spinal tap. So this must have been several years ago.
Yeah, this started 15 and a half years ago was when he was diagnosed, and that was early onset.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot more today that you can do
We've
than you
come a
could
long
back
way.
then.
Yeah.
Do you recall about how long it was when you began to notice symptoms before you guys ended up taking that dementia test together?
It wasn't long.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was
it happened quickly enough that you were like, okay, this is a marked change.
It was
in
a marked
behavior.
change in him. He was always concerned about customer service. He was always on time.
Yeah.
And so, that was a marked change, and decided to, when I found that, to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there is not like an approved dementia test online, but what I like that you did was you said, let's both take this.
Right.
One, because you knew you should probably be doing pretty well on this. So if you didn't do well, it's a scam of a test, right?
Sure.
That's what I would be
Maybe
thinking.
it was a scam.
Yeah, you probably deserved a
28.
28. But two, it made it feel like, hey, we're in our
activity.
we're 60. It wasn't kind of like you're having issues. You need to take this test, finger pointing the whole time. It was let's do this together, almost like a fun thing. That was a great way to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then what were some other? So we were mild cognitive impairment. You're helping him. And then
and he kept telling me that he had no idea anything was wrong with him.
Really? Okay.
So he continued to work, and then something happened that was way more serious.
Okay.
He called me at work one day. He had an accident. He had no idea how or where he was.
Wow.
I said, where are you? I think I hit a guardrail on the highway. Well, I knew he was going downtown to get a haircut that day. So I think I blocked it out of my mind that I don't even know how we found him, where the police found him.
Sure.
But the car was, the damage done to the car, we figured out he probably went up on the sidewalk and hit all the parking meters down the sidewalk.
Wow.
So thankfully the parking meters were there and no one got hurt,
Yeah.
but his car was totaled.
Wow.
So
But he literally didn't even recognize that versus a guardrail situation.
No, he was totally confused about the whole
Yeah.
situation. So I knew that was an issue. And my husband loved to drive. He was a car guy. I mean, he can drive down the street, tell you every car, what model it was, what year it was. He did all the driving. I don't like to drive, so I never had to drive. So I thought, this is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Well, I remembered through the Alzheimer's Association, they had told me that once it's in your records that you have dementia and you would have an accident and hurt someone, they could sue you and take everything you had away.
Yeah.
So I thought, I need to approach this with him.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to do it, but I thought, and I said, let's sit down. We sat down in the kitchen. I said, we need to have a conversation. And I explained to him, I said, we have been saving our whole life. We have a beautiful home. We have what we want. We've got a nice retirement account. If you would hurt somebody driving, we could lose everything.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. He was fine giving it up once I explained that to him.
Wow.
Because I know how difficult of a change that is for a lot of people, is taking away the keys.
Exactly.
I didn't have to do that. But to help him with his sense of independence, I did take the insurance money and bought another used car. And he didn't drive it, but every once in a while I would take him out in the country where there was no one around.
Yeah.
And I'd let him drive down the street.
Yeah.
And then when we were driving together, when I had to do all the driving, which I didn't like, I'd say, Mark, look at the scenery. Look at the clouds. I said, you never got to enjoy that when you were driving all the time. Now you can just enjoy the scenery and the beautiful day.
Right.
And it worked out fine.
Yeah. So you really appealed to his emotion.
Yeah, it's a really savvy just perspective shift to keep things positive. And the way that you invite him to take the test, the way that you approach the car situation, and then what you're able to, gain from that, right? Like you're able to gain that sense of enjoying scenery and taking it easy and just seeing what kind of beauty's out there.
Right.
Well, and I know it's sometimes we have to laugh at things that happen so we don't cry. I've heard you get to speak about Mark several times, and you've told us, he started to have some hallucinations of seeing some things and hearing some things that weren't there. And there's actually a little bit of a funny story about a hallucination he was having too as part of his signs.
Yeah, my husband was extremely social. He didn't miss a social event. And one day he would sit in our office, which faced the community. We're in a condo community. And so the homes were close together.
Yeah.
And he was looking out the window and he says, "There's something going on in the neighborhood. Everybody's outside." He goes, "What's going on? I want to know."
Yeah.
So I look out the window and there's nobody outside. I thought, oh no, what is he seeing? And I looked again and I realized it was garbage day and all the garbage cans were lined up down the street.
Wow.
And he thought those were neighbors out.
Wow.
So he had a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
So we just laughed about it.
Yeah.
He had no problems laughing about that.
But you did figure out, like, even though it was hallucination, it wasn't like he was seeing ghosts. He was just misinterpreting what he was saying and thought he was missing a big party.
Yep. He wanted to be part of the party.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as time went on, that warning sign got a little bit worse because we have a mirrored closet doors, sliding glass doors from the bedroom to the kitchen. And in the middle of the night, I'd hear him arguing with someone. I'm like, what is going on? And I would turn on the light and he would be arguing with the guy in the mirror.
Wow.
He did not recognize that it was him in the mirror.
Wow.
And so he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he'd get angry.
Wow.
And that happened a lot. So I had to end up covering all our mirrors with sheets to stop him from doing that.
Just so it wouldn't escalate into more of a fight. Because if he thought that was an intruder.
Yep, he did.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing so much about the signs, because it's sometimes hard to talk about those things with our loved ones, but it sounds like the way you handled it, I mean, he didn't really ever get defensive?
No.
That's great.
No, he handled it very well.
Good. Well, thanks for joining us on our episode of Dimensions of Dementia. I know we're going to have you back again then to talk about how you have taken your experience and really gotten involved with the association. As we said, you do a lot here.
Yes, and I love it.
With us. Great. So we will cover that in our next episode of Dimensions of Dementia. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, we're grateful for your joining us, and thank you, Barb, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to support this show, please share it with others in your life who have been impacted by this disease. We can't do this on our own. For more information about the topics discussed today, or if you have questions about Alzheimer's and other dementia, please visit alz.org/dimensions of dementia, or call our 24/7 helpline at 800-272-3900. And if you want to get involved with the Alzheimer's Association through volunteering or raising funds for research, check out the links in our description.